So the last thing that I wanted to touch on is supplements, because this is something that kids, especially around the 15, 16, 17-year-old age, start to talk about. They start to learn about steroids and stuff like steroids, or not learn about it, hear about it, and kids using it. And then they start to ask about supplements.
Well, I think the mindset is I'm going to get results quicker if I take stuff. Creatine, pre-workouts, protein. What do you take it? What do you drink it, Andy or Eric? Oh, these are amino acids. Oh, I need some. No, you might. Maybe you could, but it's the foundation first, right?
That's right. So that's exactly what I was going to say. So if you are looking at or you're interested in supplements, so this now goes into the top of our pyramid, supplemental nutrition, things that aren't necessary but might help.
Yeah.
Then the questions are just that. Is the supplement necessary? Number one. Is the supplement, is it safe? Number two. Yeah. Is it effective? Does it actually work?
Yeah.
And then what situations is it appropriate to use the supplement in?
Yeah.
And these are things that when you're a kid, you don't know the answer to any of these questions yet.
That's right.
So it's important that you actually go look for information and don't just assume that you need whatever supplement it is that you heard your buddy at the gym is using, right? So what I would say in general, before I get into some specifics about supplements, is high quality supplements are very few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little research to support most of them.
Yeah.
There's some research or some good research to support a few of them.
Yeah. And
so
certain countries have higher quality or quality control.
That's right.
So like if it says that there's 10 grams or 20 grams of protein per scoop, that might not be not even close, right? So
that's right.
You never know.
So what I would say is, unless you're a very advanced athlete or you have a specific condition or something that a doctor has said, then using supplements at all is not necessary.
Yeah.
So having said that, if you want to use them, I'm going to go through a couple things because I at least want you to have decent information if you're going to choose to do that. Because some kids now around, like pre-workouts in particular, I didn't start using a pre-workout till I was 20-something, and you never even use it.
No.
So it's not necessary, but at least I'm going to give you some tips on what to look for. So I'm going to start with pre-workouts. So if you're looking for a pre-workout, there's 5 ingredients normally that are in pre-workouts that you're going to look for. And for them to actually work, they need to be in there in a certain dose. So I'm not going to go over what the dosages for all of them are because it doesn't matter for the kids that we're talking to. So keep that in mind. If you're going to go buy a supplement, if you're going to go buy a pre-workout, most of the time, most brands of pre-workouts don't even have the requisite amount of each ingredient for it to be effective.
Yeah.
So the ingredients that are in the pre-workouts are researched to some degree, and they do show effectiveness in certain ways, but only at certain dosages. So if you just go buy whatever pre-workout because it says intense, focus, and pump on the label, it doesn't matter what they say on the label. If you look at how much of the ingredient is in the pre-workout, and normally is not even the amount you need to get the effect that was shown clinically or through research. So keep that in mind. Like most of them actually don't even have what you need for it to be effective. Having said that, there's 5 ingredients. The first one is beta-alanine is what it's called. So it basically helps to control muscle fatigue. So it's called beta-alanine, and that's the thing that'll give you that buzz on your lips if you've ever had a pre-workout. So that's an ingredient, or it'll be something like that, which I'm not going to go through the list of ones that are like that. Another one is called L-citrulline. So this is what increases, it's a precursor to nitric oxide. If you don't know what nitric oxide is, it just helps you dilate your blood vessels so you get more blood flow, and that helps with that feeling of when you're pumped. So if you ever do curls or bench press or whatever and you feel it in your chest, that's blood flowing to the area. So L-citrulline is something that can help with that. And there's other variations of that ingredient also that could be in it. The other one is branched chain amino acids. A lot of times pre-workouts will have that, which is not a necessary supplement to have in the pre-workout at all, but usually just makes the scoop bigger. Like you'll have more powder in each scoop. Yeah. And previously, branched chain amino acids it's 3 amino acids of the group of amino acids you need to build protein. Yeah. And there's mixed research now that if they even work. Like now it's more on essential. Now it's more like essential amino acids, whatever. But it's a little more into the weeds. But it's not even necessary that you take them at all. Yeah. So that's that. Then the next 2, these are the 2 big ones. I saved these for last. So one is caffeine. So that'll be the stimulant part of most pre-workouts. And then the other one is creatine. Yeah. That's normally what's in every pre-workout. Those are the 5. So for caffeine, this is why I don't recommend it to especially teenagers. because if you start messing around with stimulants when you're a kid, it's not like it's going to kill you or anything, but it can start to mess with like how you're sleeping or how your mood is, or all these things that affect adults that take caffeine, cravings, this kind of stuff, kills your appetite. That's another one. But these are things that it affects adults as well. And when you're a kid and you're developing, do you need to have that affecting your hormones and how you're sleeping and all this kind of stuff? You don't. You don't. So if anything, I don't recommend that you take a pre-workout because you don't really need to, but if you are going to take one, if you're a teenager, I would try to get one that doesn't have a stimulant in it, so caffeine or anything like it, because it's just not necessary. You don't need that. So none of you guys drink coffee for the most part. Yeah. And you don't drink it because you don't need it. So you don't have to do that. Also, most of the kids, especially when you have school, you're working out after school. So if you're taking a big wad of caffeine at 4 o'clock, you're not sleeping. You're not going to go to sleep. It takes a best case unless you're a hyper responder to caffeine, or you can break it down faster than most people. It'll take you at least 8 hours to get rid of it, to get rid of it. Yeah. Or more.
Just speaking on the caffeine. Yeah. So Charlie started drinking a little bit of coffee last year, right? Mm-hmm. And cool. That's all right. I don't mind him having coffee in the morning and stuff. But what he started to enjoy the Tim Hortons iced coffee. Oh yeah. And a lot of the kids are drinking the iced coffee, cappuccinos, crappa frappuccinos, whatever they're called. I don't know, what are they called? Whatever, doesn't matter. But anyways, the iced coffee, and I said, and it came out. I said, what is an iced coffee? He goes, just coffee with ice. I said, that's it. So I said, well, I looked at it. I said, well, why is it not black? Well, they put so if you don't ask, you got to ask without it. So if you have just the coffee, you got the caffeine. Okay, that's one. But a lot of these kids, this is where things could get hidden, right? If you're not paying attention. But with the other shit that's in the iced coffees is they put the syrups, and it's all basically it's all sugar and what's not food. Yeah. Right. Just a pile of shit. So you might be thinking you're having a coffee, but you're having a heck of a lot more than a coffee, and it's actually really, really bad for you and really, really fattening for you. So you can go from something that's 5 grams of or 5 calories to 280 calories or 380 calories by the drink, and now you're just eating a pile of shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So like those are the things you got to be careful of, and so I that's one thing I don't recommend is going to the Tim Hortons, if you're in the States, the Dunkin' Donuts, the Starbucks, and getting those fancy things because it's just loaded with crap.
Yeah, and it's not that you can never have one but we're talking about consistency, right? Yeah. We're talking about on a consistent basis, what are you having? So if you go have a iced coffee on a Saturday morning because you feel like having one, okay. But if you have one every other day or every 5 times a week or whatever, it's unnecessary calories that are doing nothing for you. Yeah. So not the best idea, on top of what'll happen if you're starting to mess around with stimulants and stuff like that. So just be aware of that. Then the last one is the creatine. So this is the favorite one that I get questions about from the teenagers that come in here. And none of them know what it does, which obviously not, which is fine. But the question that I get most often from the kids about it is it dangerous? Yeah. And just to clear the air on that, creatine is not a steroid. Yeah. It's not steroids. It's actually probably the most researched supplement that exists in the fitness industry. Yeah. And it actually does what it says it does. Yeah. So do you need it? No. What does it do? It just helps you to circulate energy in your body. So it helps you not get as tired as fast. And it'll help. Sometimes it has some water retention properties to it, depending on what and how amount what amount you're taking. So in terms of the creatine thing, whether it's in a pre-workout or not, do you need it? You don't. Does it help? It does help. Is it worth the expense? Not necessarily when you're a teenager. It's not really something that is necessary. Yeah. But if you are to go get a supplement and what is the most worth it? I would say creatine is probably it. Yep. That's probably the most worth it one. If you're going to take one, that would probably be the one over all the others. That would be worth it. And you can just buy just pure creatine, and that would be the most worth it for your money. Again, it's not necessary, but that's something that you can look at if you are really set on using supplements. So that's all I'll say on that. I'm going to get into the protein powders real quick, unless you have something else to toss on that.
No,
good.
We're good.
So for the protein powders now, because this is the next most popular after the pre-workout and creatine. So when you're going to get a protein powder, there's 2 types that you can get, and they both come from animals for the most part. You can buy like pea proteins and stuff like that, but for the most part, people don't usually use those. Normally it's a whey protein or it's a casein protein. Those are the 2. I couldn't think of that word yesterday, casein. Yeah. No. So for the whey proteins, there's 3 different kinds that you can buy. One is protein concentrate. So if you look at the tub that you're buying, it'll just say whey protein on it. And it's just a concentrated source of protein that they pull out of. Normally it's when they process milk or whatever from the cow, they pull it out. It's a lower fat, but it's also not just pure protein. There's other stuff normally in it. So it'll be anywhere from like 30 to 90% protein content per unit of measure that they're using. So that's what you're going to get if you get concentrate. Protein isolate, which is this what I like. This is my favorite kind of powder to buy. It's the same as the concentrate, except it's more processed. They pull out all the other stuff. I'm going to use the fancy terms, lactose and other fat products out of it. So normally it'll digest a little bit better because it has the lactose taken out. Some people have problems with that. And it's a higher protein concentration. So it'll be like a 90% or so at a minimum. And that's normally why it's a little bit more expensive. And it digests faster because it's pre-processed. They've pulled more stuff out of it already. So it's closer to being digested.
Yeah.
Then the last one is the most processed you get, where it's literally considered pre-digested already. And they include that in, you normally can't buy that as just a powder. It's normally just in other products that you can buy, supplements and stuff like that. So those are your 3. My preference is for the isolate, but if you get the other concentrate kind, it's okay too. But it digests faster than the other type, which is casein. So casein, they both come from the cow, but it just digests slower. And I'm not, without getting into the details about it, whey is a better choice for building muscle and performance typically. And that's probably because it digests faster, and there's more reasons for that.